Okay, so Google Notebook LM. Looks like we've got a bit of a tech enthusiast on our hands. You've sent in a ton of stuff about this, articles, notes, the whole shebang.
And the thing is, it's really got people talking. This whole idea of AI boosting productivity, I mean, who wouldn't want a piece of that?
Right, like sign me up yesterday. But let's break it down, shall we? For those of us who maybe haven't quite wrapped our heads around it yet,
Sure, sure.
what is Google Notebook LM really, and what's all this about a deep dive feature? It sounds kind of intense.
Well, at its core, NotebookLM is like this AI-powered notebook, right? But it's not just about jotting down ideas. It
Uh-huh.
can actually analyze your files and pull out the important stuff.
Okay, so not just your average note-taking app.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
It's more like having, an AI research assistant by your side.
So instead of me drowning in a sea of research papers.
Exactly. It does the heavy lifting for you.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but how is that different from, say, me just highlighting stuff in a PDF?
All right, so picture this. You've got a stack of reports, super dense, full of jargon.
Oh, I know the feeling.
Right. So instead of spending hours going through them, NotebookLM can whip up a concise summary. Like it pinpoints the key arguments, even pulls out citations for you.
And that's where these, what are they called, LLMs?
LLMs, exactly. Large language models.
Right, LLMs. So that's the magic behind those super smart chatbots everyone's talking about.
That's the tech. But with NotebookLM, it's not just generating text for the sake of it. It's actually understanding and analyzing your specific documents.
Wow. So it's like having a brainy assistant who can cut through the noise and say, here's what you really need to know.
Precisely. And it's all thanks to those LLMs. They're doing the understanding and summarizing behind the scenes.
I'm starting to see why people are excited about this. And didn't this whole thing start as like Project Tailwind or something?
It did.
Even the name sounds ambitious.
Very much so. And it tells you a lot about Google's vision here. They're going all in on AI for productivity.
Well, they are Google. And speaking of going all in, let's talk about this deep dive feature. You mentioned it earlier, and honestly, it's got me curious.
Oh, yeah. Deep dive is where things get really interesting.
Lay it on me. Say I'm working on a presentation. Let's say the future of remote work. Got my articles, studies, even some random notes from colleagues. How would Notebook LM handle all that with this deep dive?
Okay, so imagine this. You upload all that stuff, right? Hit deep dive. And suddenly, you're not just reading, you're listening, like a podcast, but tailored to your topic.
Hold on, a podcast, as in actual voices discussing my research.
Yep. AI generated, of course.
Whoa. Okay, so these AI voices, they're not like throwing in their own opinions, are they? They're sticking to my research.
Totally. Think of it as your own personal panel of experts, but they're only working with the information you provide.
So no AI going rogue on me, just pure analysis based on my stuff.
Precisely. They dissect and debate, but only within the boundaries of your research.
That is both incredibly cool and slightly terrifying. Okay, this deep dive could be a game changer. Especially for someone like me, I learn best by listening.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of it. It makes information so much more accessible. But, and I think this is important to remember,
Go on.
like any tool, especially a powerful one, it's important to understand its limitations.
And what kind of limitations are we talking about here? Because it can't all be sunshine and roses in AI land, right? Okay, so potential downsides. Give it to me straight. What could go wrong with this whole deep dive thing?
Well, for starters, the insights you get, they're only as good as the information you put in.
Right, so if my research is flawed.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Biased, incomplete, whatever it might be, that's going to be reflected in the deep dive.
So garbage in, garbage out, like that old saying.
Pretty much. And that's why you still got to be choosy with your sources, even with AI doing some of the work. You can't just blindly trust it.
It's like having a really smart assistant, but they still need some direction. Can't just let them run wild.
Spot on. And speaking of limitations, we do have to remember NotebookLM's still kind of a new kid on the block.
Oh, right, it's still early days, so what kind of limitations are we looking at?
Well, right now, you can only upload a certain amount, like a certain number of documents or a word limit, whichever comes first.
Okay, how limited are we talking? Like, will I hit a wall if I try to upload, like, my entire dissertation?
Well, right now, it's 50 documents,
Yeah.
max, or 50,000 words. So yeah, a dissertation might be pushing it.
Good to know. Although I'm guessing that'll change as things progress, right? More storage, higher limits, all that.
Oh, absolutely. That's the beauty of technology, always evolving.
True, true. But even with the current limits, the potential here is huge. I mean, imagine listening to a breakdown of complex research, but you're like on a walk or commuting.
Right. It's about making information more digestible.
Exactly. And this deep dive, it's not just about passively listening either, right?
No, not at all. Think of it as a starting point. Like it helps you pinpoint the main arguments, highlights different viewpoints, even anticipates counterpoints you might encounter.
Oh, wow. So it's like a brainstorming partner, but
Mm.
available 24/7.
Exactly. It's about getting those critical thinking juices flowing no matter what you're working on. Whether it's, prepping for a debate, writing something up, or just trying to really grasp a complex topic.
I'm starting to feel like I need this deep dive in my life, like yesterday.
Right. It can be a game changer. But, it's important to remember, NotebookLM isn't the only fish in the sea. There are other AI tools out there, all vying for your attention.
Oh, right. We can't forget about the competition. So, what else is out there in this AI productivity landscape?
One of the big players is Notion AI. They've really been making waves with their approach.
Notion, yeah, I've heard of it. Isn't that more of a note-taking app, though?
It is, but they've integrated some really cool AI features directly into it. So now you're not just organizing your thoughts, you've got AI helping you do it even better.
Okay, like what? Give me some examples. What can Notion AI do?
So say you're working on a new document. Notion AI can help you outline it, generate different content styles, even summarize lengthy meeting notes.
Wow, all within Notion itself. That's pretty handy. What else is out there?
Another one making a splash is Microsoft Loop. Now this one's a bit different. It's built with collaboration in mind right from the start.
Okay, so less about individual deep dives and more about like teamwork, streamlining things.
Exactly. It uses AI to help teams co-create documents, summarize key points from discussions, and even suggest next steps. It's like having an extra team member, but this one's all about boosting efficiency.
So, Notion AI, Microsoft Loop, it's like a whole new world of AI-powered productivity out there. Any other contenders we should have on our radar, especially for someone like me, notes are my life.
Definitely. If you're all about staying organized, you got to check out Mem AI.
Mem AI, okay.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that one?
Think of it this way. It's like it helps you remember everything. Like, ever have that moment where you're searching for that one brilliant idea you jotted down like weeks ago?
Tell me about it. It happens all the time.
Right. Well, with Mem AI, that's a thing of the past. You can just jot down notes however they come to you, messy, random, whatever,
Yeah.
and the AI does the rest. Organizes everything, connects related ideas, and then, here's the best part, it resurfaces that information exactly when you need it.
Wait, so it's like having a personal assistant who organizes all my thought.
Basically, like a perfectly categorized external brain. Pretty neat, huh?
That sounds seriously impressive. Okay, but what about those more like classic note-taking apps, like Evernote, for example? Can they even compete with all this fancy AI stuff?
That's a good question. Evernote is interesting because they've kind of stuck to their guns. They haven't gone all in on AI the way some of these others have.
Interesting. So are they missing the boat here?
Not necessarily. Evernote still has some incredibly powerful features. Their organization and search capabilities are top-notch, and it's all human-powered, which some people prefer.
So sometimes the old ways are still the best ways.
Exactly. It really depends on your workflow, your preferences. The important thing is that there are options out there for everyone.
So many choices. It's amazing to see how quickly this technology is evolving. It's a bit overwhelming, but exciting too.
Totally agree. We're really just scratching the surface of what AI can do for productivity.
It's like a whole new frontier. But, and I think this is key, it's about being smart about it, right? It's not about using every shiny new tool that comes along.
100%. It's about finding what works best for you, what actually enhances your workflow, makes you more efficient, more creative.
Well said. So, to our listener out there who's been diving deep into this world with us, don't be afraid to experiment. Maybe NotebookLM's deep dive is your new best friend, or maybe it's Notion AI's seamless integration. The possibilities are endless, and the best tool is ultimately the one that helps you do your best work.